Well, hello, everyone. Good afternoon. It's so good to be here with you. It's so good to see you. And I just thought I would stop in for just a moment to give some really good information that I have really been processing over and reflecting on myself. Now, this series is called Fall into Balance. And I had planned to do this at the beginning of the month as a month long offering to everyone to really give some substantive tips and tools to help us get through this fall season. And just so happens Helene came through and it just threw a big monkey wrench into that plan. So at first I said, okay, I'm not going to do it at all. Maybe that's a sign. And then this morning, earlier today, I just thought, no, this is really still good information. I know it can be beneficial to people because it's really helped me a lot to process everything that we have been dealing with over the last several weeks. And so I wanted to make sure that I allowed this information to be put out there for everyone who are just like me, that have these huge hearts, that love to be of service, and that just really enjoy giving to others. And I've learned over my life that I want to continue being that person. I just want to make sure that I have some very healthy and manageable boundaries in doing so. And with all of my talks, with all of my big heart, beautiful friends, clients, and people out there in the world, more than anything, I want us to be able to maintain that gift that we have, but do so that it's not at the detriment to ourselves. So, welcome to Future Focus Coaching and Wellness Fall into Balance series. I'm going to get right into it because I just want to give this good information and get us on our path to where we're supposed to be. So I titled today's video, What Tables Are You Eating At? What tables have you been eating at? I know that sounds weird to some people, but let me go a little bit further. This time of the year, we're in fall, it's time for reset. We are going into harvest, all of the bounty that we have, worked hard for all year long. So now we're getting ready to reap our harvest. So hopefully, if we have sown good seeds, we will reap good seeds. But not many of us on an emotional level will reap a harvest that is very nourishing. And so that's why I use the metaphor of tables, because I know when you think of a big Thanksgiving spread, you see all types of goodies on the table, right? And so, what goodies, what nourishment is waiting for us as we go to our harvest? Is it one that will nourish us and replenish us? Or is that harvest that is impending for us to reap one that is going to do absolutely nothing for us other than to continue to be a burden or just some type of something that just doesn't really sustain us at all, that takes from us? So if you are at tables that don't serve you, if you're sitting at tables that are draining you, that are taking your big heart for granted, that's overworking that big heart or misusing that big heart, it's time to get away from those tables. It's time for a reset. It's time to release the burdens and the emotional weights that that weigh us down. And it's time to realign to what really matters to us. And I think all of us can agree that we all want emotional health and well-being. And so during our time today, I want to touch on 4 key themes. I want us to think about letting go, just like the leaf that falls from the tree. It needs to clear away so that it can make room for the new. It releases, and so we can realign in another season. We want to make sure that as we're letting go, we find balance. We want our inner being to be just as balanced, so we can start from a whole and sound place. And then when we're in this season, We want to make sure that we do good self reflection. Now, self reflection is going to give us the ability to really see and understand and process what the past 10 months have been like for us and why this harvest um, was waiting for us and was there for us to receive, whether it was good and plentiful or if it was to the deficit, not plentiful. So we want to make sure our self reflection is wonderful. Then we're going to go to cleansing out our energy, all those things that have been impeding us or, not really serving us well. We want to make sure we clear energetically those things so that we can make room for the realignment that's going to take place later. So the four key things are knowing how and when to let go, doing some finding your balance, self reflection, and energy clearing. So we're going to start with the first. Now, with letting go, I know that sounds easy, but is it really? And if you're anything like me, and especially for us big heart people, that letting go component can be the trickiest because you don't want to give up on someone. You don't want to hurt anybody else. So you tend to take it a little bit more. You're like, oh, I can handle it. I can shoulder the burden of this. But I guess what your body and your mind is really saying is, can we? Can we really afford to stay at this table that is no longer nourishing us emotionally? Your body is really a good indicator of where we need to heal. And if you're someone that's always the go-getter, going out there and doing things you need to do with no problems, then all of a sudden, this body part's falling apart. This body part's aching. This body part's hurt and you can't move. It's your body's way of saying there are some things that we need to look into, the self-reflection, things we need to figure out because we can't keep going on like this. So we want to make sure that we have a good letting go understanding and framework because it's going to be the best tool in your spiritual and emotional well-being toolkits. So you want to make sure that whatever those people or things, circumstances, or situations that are really draining you emotionally, that are keeping you stuck in patterns that just really are not healthy for you, begin now as you're listening to me today. Begin to think of that particular thing as a leaf. And you are this beautiful, grand, stately tree, deeply rooted in a solid and welcoming foundation. And today we're going to talk about those leaves that need to fall from the tree so that you can release and to realign. So today I want to start us out with just a brief and quick meditation. And if you will, begin to close your eyes and see yourself as that solid, beautiful, grand, regal tree. And you're filled with so many beautiful leaves and branches. And now you know it's time for you to be in a season of release. And in this season, we want to be intentional about what we release. And our main goal is to release those things that do not nourish us or support us or help us to grow stronger and wiser. And if you will, take a deep breath in and release. Deep breath in and release. And on this last inhalation and exhalation, ask your higher self and ask your God of understanding to bring to your heart and to your mind's eye those things that need to be released for your greatest good. And deep breath in and exhale. Thank you for being here today. And thank you for taking time to nourish your spirit and your mind and your body. And as we go forth in this presentation, I just ask that you have an open mind and heart, and to remember the theme to release and to realign. All right, everyone. And thank you for everyone that's going to see this on the replay. I'm excited for you. Thank you so much. And before we go even further, please go to iamfuturefocus.com and sign up for my monthly newsletter where you get free tips and tools. My newsletter for November, I'm giving everyone a free emotional energy clearing guide that you can take with you and use throughout the season. So go to iamfuturefocus.com and make sure that you sign up for our free monthly newsletter. You only get one newsletter a month because that's all I have time for right now. So don't worry about spam and me using your email address for anything else. You don't have to worry about any of that. All right. So we're going to go back to our 4 themes: letting go, finding balance, self-reflection, and energy clearing. And I also want to remind you all of my guided journal, Navigating Boundaries. And this is a beautiful guided journal. So it helps us big-hearted people really get a deeper understanding of what our boundaries are and how to come up with boundaries that really honor us and are meaningful to us. So it's a 30-day guided journal. So every day you have amazing quotes and prompted questions that really help you with the self-reflection portion. This is a beautiful thing to have this time of year for self-reflection. So make sure this is available at Amazon.com. It's only $10. You go and get your copy, and in 30 days, you will have a greater understanding of who you are and how to use boundaries to navigate this world, not to block you from the world. So, all right. So let's get with the letting go. In my opinion, this is going to be the greatest tool in your arsenal, right? Your spiritual defense system, when to disengage, when to say, I've had enough of being at this table. Nobody is looking out for me. I'm not the way I deserve. And basically what I'm getting in return is crap. That's how you know when it's time to let go, especially when there is very little room for the other people to change that are around you. When you have that feeling, this is it, this is how it's going to be, it's time to ask yourself some very critical and honest questions. Is what I'm receiving emotional stress, sleeplessness, or just this overall feeling of I don't like it here? If you say that it's worth it to you, then by all means keep doing what you're doing. But if you have this inner feeling that this is not serving you in any way, then maybe it's time to start asking critical questions. Is it time for me to let go? Am I being served at this table that I'm at? Because many of us as big-hearted people, we know that when we go around certain family members, oh my gosh, to eat at that table is expensive. Because as soon as they see you, they're going to want you to do 20 different things, 20 different people. And it's just like, I don't have time for all of that. But that big heart of ours, we're going to try and make a way, right? When you're sitting at your corporate tables, are you valued? Are you being seen and acknowledged for the contribution that you always make? The difference that you make in your coworkers' lives? The table that you sit at work, is it serving you? Or is it time to let it go? There are so many tables that we sit at. And sometimes we're the silent person in the room. But because we have that big heart, we tend to make the biggest impact. Because we're great at being observant, and we know and we have a great idea of what other people need. but we're like the silent weapon in the room because not many people really know us. Sometimes that works to our advantage, sometimes it does not. But knowing when to let go, knowing when to step away is your best tool in your spiritual defense kit. Now, you also want to make sure that you're finding balance because as you let go, something will take its place. And you want to make sure that as you are releasing these emotional burdens, that you are realigning, bringing into your life what matters the most. And this is why the self-reflection is a key component, because you gotta ask questions that are honest, authentic to who you are, and you give a response that is honest and authentic. You can't judge it. You can't second guess yourself. If your intuitive guidance says this is what we need or this is what I would like to have, please allow yourself to have that. As long as you're not hurting anyone else, you're bringing harm or detriment to anyone else, don't judge it. Allow your inner guidance to speak and listen without judgment. This is key. This is why self-reflection sometimes is so hard for other people, is because they get quiet and they start to receive the messages and they don't like it, or they're ashamed of what they hear or what comes up. And it's like, it is what it is. Own it. Allow it to be there. Release that. It's part of the process. Remember, the leaves are falling. And as you allow things to go out, the universe will bring in. And what you bring in, you want to make sure it brings your emotional system balance, the inner balance. Now, once we do that, hear your intuitive guidance tell you this is what we need. I believe if we go in this direction, life will be so much better. And if you allow yourself to really hear your intuitive guidance and you follow through with what he or she has to say, then please allow yourself to do some energetic clearing to prepare the way for this goodness that is calling and coming into your life. So many of us, we let go of things and then we stop the process. It's equivalent to, okay, I got up from the table, now what? Well, you gotta walk out of the room and you got to go get yourself to a safe space. So emotionally, when we start to clear this energy, we want to make sure that we allow adequate, loving, compassionate space to reside there so that all these wonderful things that we're trying to call into our lives doesn't have to compete. It won't get smothered out, or it won't be afraid to come in, because you are being proactive and making space for yourself. And so you may say, how do we do this? Well, there are so many wonderful ways you can do that. And I'll give you a few tips. But remember, go to IamFutureFocused.com, sign up for the monthly newsletter, and you will actually get free mini guides on how to do this, okay? So you don't have to remember this. But in the morning, when energy is still slow and it's a bit more quiet, just take a few minutes. Give yourself 5 minutes to acclimate yourself to your day. If you're someone that is like me, you love your tea. My tea. Yeah, I love my tea. I have my tea. I love my shawls, and it's the perfect time of the year. So it's like I'll put on my shawl, I'll get wrapped around in it, and then I'll get my tea and I'll just sip on it. Or like I'm steeping in this good information so that I can sip on this wisdom. 5 minutes just to start your day and just tell yourself everything good that you would like to have happen. Set your intentions for the day. That's something that everyone can do. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're someone that you are into sound therapy like I am, if you have any instruments at home, you can take a few minutes and use your instruments. You like to meditate? Find you a guided meditation. I have several guided meditations on my YouTube channel. You are more than welcome to use those if you just want to sit and allow and receive. That's why I love putting them up and I love making them. So please feel free to go to the YouTube channel and go to the Soul Guidance Meditation section of my page and just have fun with any one of them that you like. So you want also to have a good morning routine, really, honestly, just to start your day off. And each morning, just imagine more leaves falling, more and more leaves falling away, which are symbolizing more and more emotional stress, dis, discomfort, just leaving peacefully and slowly, but surely. And in the process, allow yourself to imagine how it's going to look in the next season when it comes back in spring. When you rejuvenate and come back next spring, where would you like to be emotionally and spiritually? What does that look like? Use those 5 minutes every morning, giving yourself the opportunity to create that. This is not high tech science. This is not, you don't even have to have money to do this. And this is why I want to make this so accessible to people. Because honestly, healing, it doesn't have to be expensive. You have the best tool in your arsenal, and that's your intelligence. Your emotional, that's your inner guidance. Always listen to your inner guidance. You are the best guru of your life. You just need to know how to tap into that inner guru and ask the right questions so that you can get the answers, the harvest that you are asking for and that you deserve, quite frankly. So here are some questions I want to share with you as I close up these journal prompts. What am I holding on to that no longer serves me? How can I begin to release these emotional burdens? Second question, what boundaries do I need to set in my relationships to protect my peace and energy? What boundaries do I need to set in my relationships to protect my peace and energy? And the third question, how can I create more balance between giving and receiving in my relationships? How can I create more balance between giving and receiving in my relationships? Those are just three beautiful questions that you can ask yourself over the next couple weeks and see how they resonate with you. Again, you can also go to Amazon.com and get my guided journal, Navigating Boundaries, a heart journey for big-hearted and sensitive souls, if you want something more structured. But more than anything, I want you to know that these key things, letting go, finding balance, self-reflection, and energy clearing, are magnificent themes to think about over the next coming weeks while we're in this fall season. Because in winter, we're going to discuss something totally different that adds on to what we're doing now. I want your harvest to be full and plentiful. I want you to have a cornucopia of blessings, as they say. But it all begins with learning how to let go of what doesn't serve us. Making sure that as we call things out of our lives, we also learn to balance it and call things into our lives that we want and that are needed. Self-reflection is key. A life examined is a life well lived. And then when you've gotten the information and you know just what you need to get rid of and you know what you want to come in, we must prepare the way. And that is the energy cleansing. So making sure that when the goodness starts rolling in, when that harvest starts to come in, and it will, that it doesn't have to compete with yesterday's stuff. No burdens, no nasty limiting beliefs or habits will stop or impede or delay the harvest that is wanting to come in for us. And that's why I want to do this fall into balance. Because I hear so many of us, I've even been there, where we're sitting and we're imagining and we're praying and we're asking with everything in us, what can I do? And nature is our greatest teacher. Nature is saying, let it go. You got to have some balance in your life. Do you know what that looks like? Maybe we should go within and figure that out. And then once we figure that out, clear out all stagnant energy so that all that goodness that we're asking for can come in easier. So I want you to think about this today. I'm so grateful that you're here, especially everyone that's here now and on the replay. Thank you so much for being here and for loving yourself enough to do this fall into balance. Next time you go eat at a table, next time you go sit at a table, next time you're just at a table, ask yourself silently, does this serve me? Or am I tolerating crap for whatever reason? I want our harvest to be full and plentiful, but it's going to take some action from us. And I know that as I'm going through this lesson, I'm down for it. Because I know I deserve better, and I know I will have better. And I want that for you as well. So as you're listening to this presentation, remember, me and my tea. Steep on these facts, steep on this information. So that later you can sip on the wisdom. All right, everyone. I'm so grateful you're here. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day. Please reach out to me at shanita@IamFutureFocus.com. If you want to schedule a session with me, we can talk about this, how this applies to you specifically. In any session that you'd like to choose. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I'll see you later. Bye.